All right, so there's these weird, what is that? Long hair. So, today's practice is going to be a little bit different than the normal. It's a long Kriya. So normally we do Kriya, Gong, meditation. This one, the Kriya will take up almost the whole time. So it's a Kriya that has a bunch of built-in breaks within it. So it has like 4 little breaks. There's a 2-minute break, a 4-minute break, a 5-minute break kind of throughout. And then there's a little meditation at the end that's built into it as well. So basically we'll do the whole Kriya with the mini breaks built in, and we'll do the little meditation that's part of the Kriya, and then at the very end we'll do relaxation with the gong. So that's kind of what today will look like. So this practice is about your heart center as well as your magnetic field. Those are the two big focuses, and we'll talk a little bit more about what that means. So let's go ahead and find a nice tall seat and have a slight mulband here. So lift up slightly through the pelvis, bring your hands together at prayer pose at your heart and press them into each other. Make this an active pose. Press your thumbs into your sternum. Let your eyes lift so there's a little bit of pressure at your eyes as you roll your eyes up and in the middle, in between your eyebrows. And then feel as if you're inside your body pushing out on your heart. So your heart is lifting and pressing into your thumbs. And if you're here in the room with me, take just a moment to acknowledge that there are sounds. Just acknowledge what you're hearing, feeling, smelling. Then start to deepen your breath, moving the breath all the way down, deep down into your belly. Then filling all the way up. And then when you exhale, begin at the top. Exhale out of the top of the chest, then all the way down, empty completely out of your belly. And empty so completely that you feel mulband tighten a little bit at the bottom of the exhale. What we're doing in Kundalini is really tuning into this channel, this Shushmana. And we're inviting this biggest, truest part of who we are to really be fully present. And we're training our minds to recognize when it is present, what that feels like. So start to invite that sense now with your breath. And then inhaling to tune in. Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. Ai Gure Name, Jugai Gure Name, Sat Gure Name, Siri Guru Deve Name. Ai Gure Name, Jugai Gure Name, Sat Gure Name, Siri Guru Deve Name. Agare Name, Jugagare Name, Satgare Name, Sri Gurudeve Name. Inhale and hold your breath. Exhale. Keep your hands in prayer pose or just fold your hands one on top of another at your heart center. Keep your eyes closed. As I just explain a little bit more about our Kriya today. So as we work on our heart center and our magnetic field, we'll be working to open up this area. So take a second to just sense how your heart is feeling today in this moment. Notice if it feels open or closed. Notice if you feel like the energy is moving freely and easily or not. And also just take a moment to take inventory of the space around your body, that electromagnetic field. And just imagine you can feel into it. Does it feel big or small, strong or weak? And then as you continue breathing, imagine sending breath from above your head down into your heart so that it's moving out of your heart. And as you continue to breathe like this, just notice if there's an intention that naturally starts to bubble up for you for today. And maybe there are words to put on the intention, or maybe it's more of a feeling or an image. And as you continue to breathe for just one more moment through your heart, keep imagining the breath moving from above your head and out through your heart. Just feel yourself growing that intention, intensifying the feeling or the thought, the words, moving them through your heart space. Inhale, squeeze Mulband. Exhale, release the hands. So this Kriya is called Magnetic Field and Heart Center. We'll move into the posture, first posture here. Arms come up to 60 degrees and palms are facing in toward one another. Lift your sternum, let your eyes come up to the space between your eyebrows, and begin breath of fire, the rapid inhales and exhales through the nose. Keep going. Have nice straight elbows here. So when we have a nice, balanced electromagnetic field, we can have those feelings of safety and connection and happiness. A weaker magnetic field makes us vulnerable to not only like viruses, germs, things like that, but a weaker electromagnetic field also makes us vulnerable to feelings and attitudes of other people around us. So we want to keep this field around us really strong. so that we can have those feelings of contentment and happiness and keep away the things that do not serve us. Now keep your arms lifted as they are. Inhale, suspend the breath, and pump the stomach 16 times before exhaling. When you've done 16, exhale, inhale again, suspend the breath, pump the stomach 16 times. Keep going. Think of this as a big chalice, strong arms. Feel the essence of who you are coming down through the chalice, down through the crown of your head, into your heart, into the space around your body. If you find yourself needing to gasp a little bit after you're done pumping for 16 times, that may indicate a little bit of weakness in the magnetic field. Try to keep your arms lifted. This strengthens your nervous system. If at any time you do need a rest, you can just imagine yourself doing the posture. Keep the breath going. Try and keep your arms straight. Last 30 seconds here. Good. Inhale, suspend the breath, squeeze root lock. Exhale, release the arms, and just observe the way you feel for a moment. Okay. Moving on to your knees now, feeling free to sit on a cushion if you need to. Your arms will come straight out to the side, parallel to the ground, and your wrists will be limp. They're just going to hang, and then it's breath of fire again. And there's no specified eye gaze, but I do like to put mine up here in between the eyebrows to activate that pituitary gland. So begin breath of fire. Keep going. This is working directly on your heart. So there are meridians or lines of energy that are associated with different organs in your body. And the heart is associated with these lines that run up the arms. So whenever we're doing work on the heart, we work on our arms. Keep going. Just like in the last pose, this is a nervous system, a function of a nervous system, not muscular to hold your arms out like this. So you're also strengthening your nervous system. And as you're breathing that breath of fire, just imagine that breath of fire going in and purifying and cleansing anything that needs cleansing today. Let every breath feed into the intention that you've set for the practice. We're here for about 1 more minute. Sometimes I like to imagine the breath moving all of that energy, the space around my heart. So clearing out old feelings, old thoughts, old patterns, clearing everything out so that you can feel and be that pure love that you are. Inhale. Suspend the breath, squeeze root lock, imagine the energy coming up the central channel, out through the crown of the head. Exhale, release. Relax for just a moment. Notice the effect of the exercise. And sometimes I find myself in these little pauses, sort of like a little gasp or a yawn or something like that. That's all kind of opening, so never suppress any urge that you might have like that. Sometimes a cough even is a clearing thing. Now, staying on your heels, open your knees wide and then lean back to 60 degrees. So you're putting your arms just kind of below your shoulders here. If your neck feels comfortable, go ahead and let it drop back. If that feels uncomfortable for you or like it's bothering your neck at all, then just bring your chin towards your chest and leave it here. Otherwise, let it drop back. Inhale. You'll suspend the breath as long as possible while you pump your navel. And then when you need to exhale, exhale. And begin again. Inhale. Suspend the breath. Pump the navel as many times as you can. Exhale when you need to. Keep going. Here, we're opening up and working on your thyroid and your throat, your parathyroid as well, also in your throat. It's a good exercise for your navel. And Yogi Bhajan says that a byproduct of this, even though we're not working on it directly, is a really radiant complexion. We're just here for about 20 more seconds. Now maintain this position, except walk the arms back so that now your body is at about 30 degrees. And same thing. Inhale, suspend, and pump the belly. Keep going. You're in your last little bit here. Inhale, suspend the breath, squeeze root lock. Exhale, walk your way forward. Stay on your heels with your knees spread, and then bring your forehead to the ground. Arms are extended out in front of you long, and they're pressed together in prayer pose. Regular breathing for just the first minute here. Try and straighten the arms if you can. Press the palms together, forehead's on the ground. Maybe your eyes roll up to that third eye. Whenever we have our forehead on the ground like this, we're working on our third eye or our pituitary gland. Maintain this position and now begin long, deep breathing. Long, deep breathing. Let the breathing be really conscious. Fill up your whole low back and your belly, all the way up into your chest, and exhale all the way out. In a moment, we're going to start a chant in this same posture. And the chant will be Ong, O-N-G, and then So-Hung, So-Hung. And Ong is the creative, the external expression of the creative force. So Ong, So-Hung. And another mantra that we'll use at the end of the practice, which is God and me and God are one, are both mantras that help us to recognize that we have divine or infinite inside of us. So whatever name we give that, universal consciousness or God or anything else, we're just recognizing this infinite peace within us. So the chanting will begin now. And the way that we're supposed to do this is a call and response. So I'll do a line and then you echo with me. Ong, 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 ong. Now do it with me. Ong, 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 ong. So-Hung, 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 Soham, together. Soham, 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 me. Ong, 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 together. Ong, 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 Soham, 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 Ong, 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 Soham, 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 Ong, 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 Soham, 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 Soham. Inhale, squeeze root lock. Exhale, squeeze empty. That balanced the hormones in your blood, move spinal fluid. Inhale whenever you need to. It also helps repair damage from alcohol and drug use. And go ahead and come up to a seated position, pausing for just a moment to notice the way that you feel. And extending your legs out in front of you. Bending from the waist, head comes last, arms come to the shins or the toes. Tuck the chin in toward the body. Let your eyes move up toward the toes. And we're just breathing here. So since your chin is tucked, you might just be moving your eyes up, but not actually able to see your toes here. Maybe for the last few seconds here, you just drop your elbows a little bit more. Come a little bit closer to your legs. Keep moving your eyes up towards your big toes. Inhale. Squeeze Mulband. Exhale. Squeeze empty. Inhale, slowly come up. With your eyes closed, just observe the way that you feel. Now moving into back platform. I'm going to show you both pieces of this before you move into the pose. So for the first part, you'll be in back platform, so you lift your hips up off the ground, fingers are in towards your heels. Your neck comes all the way back if that works for you. If it doesn't, feel free to bring it up, and then it's breath of fire. And then after 30 seconds, you'll keep doing breath of fire here, but you're walking your legs out and then back in. Okay? So go ahead and begin. I'll start our timer. So breath of fire, lift your hips, head falls back if you can, and then breath of fire. Keep going. This is also good for your thyroid, for your back, and for your heart. Good. Now 30 seconds of walking the legs in and out. Keep going. Don't worry about what it looks like or if you're doing it right. Just kind of move them in, move them out. Just 5 more seconds here. Good, come center, inhale, lift the hips, squeeze root lock. Exhale, lower yourself down. And then come back into this life nerve stretch again, reaching for your toes or your shins, tuck your chin. Here to rest for 1 minute. Inhale, squeeze root lock. Exhale. And then make your way onto your back for the first sort of embedded rest. So just lie down on your back for a minute. We'll just be here for a couple of minutes. This rest is really important. It's what allows everything that we've brought up, everything that we're circulating, to move. Maybe just noticing if you're feeling any resistance in your body or your mind. Notice if there's anywhere that you're sort of holding on, holding up, holding away from the ground. And just let it go. Let that energy flow. Every once in a while, just kind of check back in and see if you moved back into resistance. Usually every time I check in, I notice that there's something I've sort of started holding on to again. We have these habitual things we hold on to. Let them go. Sometimes it's even helpful to exaggerate an area where you feel resistance. So sort of intentionally squeezing it or sharpening your focus around it for a second, taking a couple of deep breaths into that, and then releasing it. Almost as if acknowledging that it's there, and then choosing to let it go. Then nice deep inhale here. Exhale. Then make your way back up to a seated position. Maybe you roll to one side and then come up, or maybe you rock and roll on your back, tucking your shins in. And moving into a Maha Mudra. So tuck your left knee, and then you'll sit down on your left heel. So your left heel goes into your perineum, in between your anus and sex organs. Right heel is extended. You'll bend from your waist. So you're coming down, maybe holding the toe here, or maybe holding onto the shins. Chin is tucked in. Then you'll inhale, exhale, and you'll hold the breath out for 8 seconds while you pull up on your root lock. Then inhale and exhale again. I'll count out that 8 seconds for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then inhale, exhale, and go ahead and count your own. Keep going, 30 more seconds here. Sorry, more than 30 more seconds here. If that's ever too much on your knee, you can bring that leg onto the inside of the thigh. Feel free to modify it however you need to. There are so many, there's half a page, I think. It might even be a full page of benefits from just this posture. Focus on pulling your root lock as you hold empty. Kundalini energy is talked about residing here at the base of the spine. So when we do things like mulband, we're helping to pull that energy up. Move and circulate the energy throughout our body. Keep focusing on your breath. Can you breathe even more completely on the inhale? Can you empty a little bit more on the exhale? Can you pull a little bit tighter on mulband? And when you finish that round, go ahead and come on up And then lie down on your back for the second rest that's incorporated into the Kriya. So just resting on your back, palms up, eyes closed. Begin by just noticing the way that you feel. And then just allowing yourself to drop, allowing yourself to rest, allowing the energy to circulate. We are naturally at ease. We are naturally joyful. We are naturally relaxed. So when we release resistance, we move back into our natural state. I may just very lightly play the gong here, even though we're not in Shavasana, to help aid that relaxation. Remember your intention. Breathe with your intention. Release with your intention in mind. Instead of grasping at everything you want and need, let it flow to you by surrendering, by allowing, by letting go. Taking a deep breath in. Exhale. Now lift your right leg in the air and begin breath of fire with just this leg in the air. Keep going. If it needs to bend, it can. Otherwise, go ahead and straighten it out. We're balancing prana and apana here. That force that comes into the body, the force that comes out of the body. We're balancing those forces with this posture. Just 20 more seconds on this side. Keep the breath of fire going. Make sure your low back is curled into the ground so that you're using your abdominal muscles to hold your leg up. Good, now switch legs. Left leg comes up, breath of fire. Okay, this time both legs, 1 foot off the ground, breath of fire. If you need to, you can place your hands under your low back, you can bend the knees, you can lift and then lower one leg and then the other. Again, curl that low back down into the mat. Really push the kidneys down. We're only here for a minute. We're down to 30 seconds. Breath of fire. Good, inhale, suspend, squeeze root lock. Exhale, slowly lower the legs. Pause for just a moment and notice how you feel. And from here, we'll come into shoulder stand. So if you're at home and you have a blanket or something that you can lie across there, that would be good. There's extra blankets here if you want to use one of those. You don't need to use a blanket, but just make sure that you are not putting any pressure on your neck. You want to keep all the pressure for this in your arms and your elbows. So if you are using a blanket, just roll down so that the top of the blanket meets the top of the shoulders. Then you'll bring your legs up. Till they come up to the ceiling, so you're trying to make a straight line here. It may not quite happen, that's okay. Again, the weight is in your elbows, and then you're going to do wide leg here. Keep going. I'm going to start the timer. So there's no specified breath pattern, so just normal breath. Looks good. This is also good for your thyroid again. If at any point you need to come down, or if that's a bit much, or you have any sensitivity in your neck, you can also come up onto a bolster and do it from there. We're going to be here for a couple more minutes. Just do your best. Be mindful of your breathing. Don't lose your breath. Yeah, and keep lifting up through the torso. As always in Kundalini, if you need to rest, feel free to do so. Just imagine yourself doing the posture. We're just over a minute left. Last 20 seconds. Good breathing. Good. Inhale, suspend the breath, squeeze root lock. And then exhale very slowly and gently, lower down one vertebrae at a time. Come lying on your back. Good. And here we have our next little built-in rest. So just rest here on your back for a few minutes. Maybe you can even feel or imagine that you can feel energy moving through your throat after all that work on your thyroid. Where can you release resistance this time? Just let all the sounds, everything around you, be secondary to your internal experience. Experience who you are. Remember. Can you feel energy moving all the way from the base of your spine up through the crown of your head? Or is there somewhere that needs to soften just a bit so that the energy can flow? Take a deep inhale, exhale. So from here, stay lying on the back, bring your arms straight up so that the palms are facing in toward one another and the arms are shoulder width apart. You'll inhale as you lift your legs 6 inches off the ground. As you exhale, you'll lower the legs and just lift your head to look at your toes. Inhale, legs up. Exhale, lower legs, tuck chin to chest. Keep going. Arms just stay lifted the whole time. Working on our heart here. Make sure you connect it with the breath. Inhaling as the legs come up, exhaling as the legs come down and the head comes up. Legs are only coming up 6 inches, keeping the low back pressed into the mat so you're working on your abdominals. About 1 more minute here. Good. Inhale. Squeeze the Mo bond. Exhale, release. Lower your arms. Just a short observation of the way you feel. And then come to a seated position. So rolling onto one side or rolling your way up. In easy pose, grasp opposite elbows. Just sort of giving yourself a hug. And then you'll start doing an infinity sign or a figure 8 with your neck. So rolling it around. Just keep going that same direction. We'll switch directions in just a moment. Nice and slow. Let how your neck is feeling dictate how big or how small those figure 8s are. And now begin reversing that direction. So figure 8 in the opposite direction. Come center, inhale, exhale. Now holding your arms as they are, lower your forehead, maybe it comes to the ground, maybe not, and come all the way back up. Do that 10 times. And when you're finished with your 10, put your hands in Gyan Mudra, first finger and thumb touch, other 3 are extended, elbows are straight. And we're going to move into our meditation that's part of this Kriya. So you may want to elevate your hips a little bit so that your pelvis is tilted and it's easier to sit up straight. Once again, come back to that opening position where you have a slight mulban, slight root lock. Your chin is up and back. Your eyes are moved up to the space between your eyebrows. Feel as if you're inside your body, pressing out on your heart. So your heart is lifted, shoulder blades come together. And in just a second, we'll begin chanting, God and me and God are one. And again, if God is a loaded word for you, just replace that in your mind with the infinite or consciousness, creative consciousness. Or just knowing that we are merging, we are part of that whole. There is divine within us. So let's begin chanting. God and me and God are one. 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 Last one. God and me and God are one. Inhale. Exhale. Relax your arms in your lap. Notice how you feel. Notice how the back of your heart feels, the front of your heart. Drop into that joy. Whenever you feel ready, come lying on your back for Shavasana. Begin to deepen your breath. Start to wiggle your fingers and toes. Circle hands on wrists and feet, on ankles. Inhale as you do a long stretch with arms overhead. Exhale, open arms out to the side, bring one knee in and across the chest for a twist. And then the other. Rub the palms of your hands together. Rub the soles of your feet together. Then grasp the front of your shins and rock and roll to a seated position. Hands in prayer pose at your heart, lifting your heart. Noticing. And inhale to sing our closing song. May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you. And the pure light within you guide your way on. May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. Guide your way on. May you be fearless in opening your heart and sharing all that you are with the world. Sat Nam.